Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to GPVWC. We are here once again for Formula Sprint 2, and we're at the wonderful circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Canada, in Montreal to be specific. Is the wonderful track map. You can see 14 turns this circuit, according to this map anyway. And, well, it's round 7 of the championship. We're just approaching half distance in the season. And, well, what a season it has been so far. The gap at the top of the standings between Jack Mayer and Luke Mitchell is a single point, with Ruben Richet just 3 points down. And, well, if that's anything to go by, today should be just as good. And we've got 14 minutes left in the qualifying session. Followed by two 18-lap races. I'm Tom Dillon, and joining me today is Menno Klont. And Menno, we're seeing all of the teams have got used to their cars now, and really it's where we're getting into the business end of the season.
Yeah, it will be very interesting to see how teams got out of the spring break, the first ever spring break from our league. But yeah, now we're at Canada, and yeah, they know the car by now, and they know what they need to extract the maximum potential out of the car. But I think now we will see who can, do that the best, and I think it will be close. This track just allows, I think, a lot of drivers to be very close. So I will see a lot of drivers being very close for pole. I predict.
And no one quite setting a lap just yet. Alex Lahoe was purple in the first sector. In the end, it's going to be Ruben Richet. And he topped practice and is looking like he's going to at least throw his hat into the ring for this particular lap. And, well, he heads through the chicane now. And a very difficult corner. This one heading down to the hairpin, and I wonder if we'll see any shenanigans with a DRS detection point at that line. And well, that's for later in the race. Dip the car into the hairpin and then just ease on the throttle out a big long straight. Now a big DRS zone, which again is going to be crucial into the race and probably the main overtaking opportunity of the circuit. And then going to reach the car's top speed almost as you head down, brake just before the 50 board down into the final chicane, avoid the wall of champions on the right hand side, and well, cross the line for a lap of Canada. What can Stephen Lexo do? It's a 126.7. So the Red Ven Racing car goes second position, and Ruben Machete takes pole provisionally with a 126.5.
Yeah, now we're waiting, I think, for Luke Mitchell, who's now coming out of the last corner. He had, I believe, a purple sector. Where can Luke Mitchell jump into? That is P4 at the moment. Only 3.5 tenths down from the fastest lap, which is now from Ruben Machete. And you just see all those 30 drivers now on track, putting in the lap times, the banker lap time. And it looks, I think, pretty decent. We have some people who are actually putting purple. No, not purple, but we've got loads of people who are still like improving on their own lap.
And seeing lots of support in chat for Will Gibson. He's in the pits right now, but he's in 12th position for Valence Sim Racing, 127.7. So a couple of seconds off of the pace. Well, actually 1 second off the pace, almost exactly. But Will Gibson going along quite nicely for the time being. Here's Ruben Machete for Red Ven Racing, currently on pole position. And I wonder if he's going into the pits, and he does in the end. He was yellow in the second sector. Someone who isn't going to be coming into the pits this lap is Luke Mitchell for Alpha Sierra Sim Racing. He currently sits down in 4th and, is going to see if he can challenge for pole position. Of course, a single point behind Jack Mayer, who's down in 9th. So Luke Mitchell really trying to create some distance between him and his fellow Englishman. And, he's not going to go pole position on this occasion, but he will take second position with a 126.5. So actually, only about 300ths of a second behind pole position.
Well, still a pretty good lap, so I think he's quite happy with that. Still a long to go in the session.
As we watch Matthias Sandak for Downforce Sky Electric Racing, currently sitting in 28th. I don't believe he's set a time yet, so not particularly representative. And no, he hasn't set a time. And 27 of the drivers have set a time. And Sandak looking to get his season underway, really. Unremarkable, sitting down in 17th in the standings, and his results so far have been essentially inconsistency personified. A couple of points finishes and then some back-to-back DNFs. DNF last time he raced in Azerbaijan and had a couple of 16th position finishes as well. So looking to really get his second half of the season after the spring break up to a good start. Of course, unlike the Formula 1 summer break, the drivers are allowed to practice and do setup work and things, so they can really get better in the car if they want to. And a 127.8, so only 20th position for Sandak. Alejandro Valente is currently sitting in 30th and will be looking to improve, and he does, only to 19th and 1.3 seconds off of the pace. So I'm sure the other Valence Sim Racing driver will be looking to improve on that time eventually. Stephen Lexo for Red Ven Racing looks to make it a 1-2, and currently he's going along at that business quite nicely, heading down into the hairpin. A little bit of a slide through the chicane, but nothing too dramatic, and he is purple in the second sector as well as his brake disc glow into the hairpin. A huge slide for Stephen Lexo. And, if he takes pole position after that slide, it will be quite impressive indeed. And I wonder if he's just overheated his tyres ever so slightly. Back on the DRS, however, and heading down to the chicane. Can Stephen Lexo make it pole position for the time being? 7 minutes to go. And, a little bit of a wiggle, but he manages to avoid the wall of champions. And it is, I think, not going to be pole position for Stephen Lexo. In fact, he doesn't
look at Ruven. I believe Ruven was on a fast lap, but I'm not sure if he's actually improved.
He is purple. He is purple in the first sector, Ruven Machete, and we're just waiting to see what his second sector time is. Yeah. Here is Kanani going to cross the line and go 7th. A very good, actually, for him.
That's very impressive. I wouldn't have thought that would have been possible for Osama. But P7 at this moment, that close to the current pole position time, that's really impressive.
42nd in the championship is Usama Kanani, and you'll have to apologise if I'm seeing that flag wrong, but I believe he's from Turkey, and I remember us saying that he's actually the first Turkish driver in Tunisian, sorry, I'm having in my ear, and first Tunisian driver in GPVWC. Not had the best of seasons so far, only raced in 2 of the previous rounds and not scored points just yet, but looking quite good up in 7th for the time being. Really had a good spring break for his troubles. Ruben Machete is improving, and he's improving quite emphatically actually. 1/10 of a second he was up in the second sector, and we'll see if he can improve on his 1:26.5. Heads through the final chicane now. And he almost clips the wall of champions, actually. There's Ruben Machete. But third place in the championship, crosses the line, and it is going to be an improvement. Wow. It's going to be quite an emphatic improvement, actually. Wow. 1:26.1 with 5 minutes to go.
Oh, and Luke Mitchell actually improved as well to 1:26.3. But I didn't expect it was such a jump still possible. And Ruben just put the absolute best sectors in one lap, so he will be very pleased with that lap. And if you can drive that lap, at this moment in time in the qualifying session, then you're really having a good time.
Luca Gray is on his next qualifying lap, currently sitting down in 14th. 1.1 seconds off of the pace, but we're going to have a wait and see to see if he can improve. That McLaren 2010s inspired car, and in fact it's a pretty poor first sector, 9/10 of a second down, so I think he'll be essentially writing this particular lap off. A little bit of a dull patch in the qualifying session then, as no one is actually improving their lap times for the time being, as everyone just, I imagine, preparing the cars for those final runs in a couple of minutes' time. And, someone that I do want to draw your attention to is, as Alex Lahoe does improve up to 5th, and just what I do want to draw your attention to is Yusuf, down in 13th position, racing in the Academy car today. Was supposed to be commentating, but has got his big break in the series. And he said to me that his goal was to see if he could drive Academy this year without doing any setup work at all. And I imagine he's at least got a setup for this particular race. It'd be quite suicidal not to. But 13th position, trying to improve, Yusuf bin Soyal. And it is an improvement in the first sector. So really going along quite nicely.
Yes, and I want to say that I believe we've got 3 drivers who make their FS2 debut today, which is Yusuf, who's making his FS2 debut. Then we've got Will Gibson, who's making his FS2 debut, and I believe we've got Christian Mena for Team RNG is also making his debut. So we will keep an eye on I think all 3 of those drivers for this round, and let's see if one of them can get away with some points. Will be good.
As backs out of his lap does Yusuf in the end. Stephen Lexo is improving, and on that note, Menno, that makes it 49 drivers who have raced in FS2 this season so far, and that's a big number indeed. Stephen Lexo does improve, but not enough, and stays 3rd in the end. 0.3 of a second off of pole. Here's the Kings Racing car of Scott Mitchell, the number 89. Of course, teammate to Jack Nichols, who currently sits in 11th. So it's a Kings Racing 10-11. And this team have really been focusing on the constructors' standings, currently down in 4th position. Scott Mitchell looking to get them back up the order, and they've got a couple of wins one win this season, I should say, a couple of podiums, and looking to get their season a little bit back on track and push on for top 3. Their main competitors really are Top Esports, or TOP Esports, in 3rd position. Scott Mitchell runs all of the curb into the chicane. I think he'll do well to improve on this particular lap. Let's see if he can do it. And it is going to be an improvement. Up to 9th for Scott Mitchell. And here is championship leader Jack Mayer going all over the curbs and hitting the wall of champions. And perhaps having to back out of that lap. And I think if he has got damage there, that's qualifying over for Jack Mayer. Be surprised to see him go
loads
again.
of improvements. Also, I believe Silver Joffert and Maciej Sandak are improving. Yes, Maciej Sandak now jumps 2 places up to P15.
And a superb drift as well through turn 1 for Sandak.
Let's see, I believe Scott Mitchell is doing an improvement to Sector 1. Let's see what he can do in Sector 2. He is now P9, and of course, a man with his experience once more. Let's see what his second sector is.
And it's going to be a poor second sector, actually, for Scott Mitchell. And he's going to need something mighty brave into the chicane. 30 seconds left in qualifying now. And, pretty much everyone having to start their laps now. Ruben Machete has thrown the towel into the ring. He won't be taking any further part in qualifying. Luke Mitchell will be. He's purple in Sector 1, but we'll focus on Scott Mitchell for the time being as he runs a load of curb into the final corner. And is he going to be able to improve? It's a big margin to make up, and it is going to be an improvement, I think, from Scott Mitchell. Yes. But in fact, it's going to be a massive improvement up to 5th position in the end. And Luke Mitchell is into the pits as well, so he won't be going for pole position. So at this stage,
Remco is still on a flyer. Remco de Zeeuw, I believe.
As we watch Jack Nicholls, but back to Remco de Zeeuw in the end, and back to Jack Nicholls. It's like ping pong. He's going to cross the line.
Very close. Let's see who finishes higher. Is it Jack Nicholls? Jack Nicholls jumps. No, but Remco jumps to P8. Yes. He jumps.
Here's Yusuf.
Yusuf is on improvement. Can he do even better improvement? Can he jump into the top 10? That would be something, because Dan Hayek and Josh Downard already are in the pit, so they cannot respond. Can Yusuf? Can he go even faster? Oh, he hits
he hits the wall.
Yeah.
And that's not going to be an improvement for Yusuf, you'd imagine. And no, a second lost in that final sector in the end. Here's Luca Gray trying to have one final bid at top 10 or even pole position, though I find the latter rather unlikely. And he's going to cross the line. And I don't think it's going to be too great of an improvement. He goes up to 13th. And at least he's into the points, Luca Gray, and he'll take solace in that fact. There is the checkered flag in qualifying, though, and it is Ruben Machete on pole position. And of course, he has got one of his championship rivals alongside him in Luke Mitchell. Stephen Lexo down in 3rd position. I remember Stephen Lexo actually telling me that he's completely focused, at least, on the constructors' standings. So further confirmation of the results, if Menno, you want to do the honours?
Yes, so it's Ruben Machete in pole, then Luke Mitchell, then Steven Lexo in P3, Jack Mayer in P4, with Scott Mitchell in P5, Alex Lehoux a solid P6, with Massimiliano Riboli in P7, Remco de Zeeuw, one of the stars of qualifying for me, in P8, with Bryn Evans also a very strong P9, and Osama Knani, hats off for this guy doing a top 10 qualifying. Well done. So P11 for Jack Nicholls. Would have expected more. Dan Hayek only P12 as well. Luca Gray, he already won a race only in P13. So yeah, it's there, but I expected maybe a bit more. Josh Downard in P14. Lucas Thailand in P15. Yusuf bin Suhail, if I pronounced that correctly, debut qualified P16, Maciej Sandak P17, Tommy Koivunen P18, Dan Hutz P19, and disappointing Silver Joffert in P20. I believe somebody left, so now the standings are, it's not good, but I believe P21 is for Alessandro Valente. Lilian Hilliard is in P22, Maxime Beaulieu in P23, Will Gibson at debut P24, Stan Fritza P25, Caitlin Penny P26 with Mihailo Vicencevic in P27, Christian Menno at debut P28, Alex Hallows in P29, and rounding out the grid of 30 drivers, it's Scott Morris. So the action will be happening in some minutes, and let's see what we will see. Will we see rain, Tom?
I'm not too sure. I don't have the forecast, I'm going to be completely honest with you. But I hope so. It'd be my first rain commentary in GPVWC. But I believe now's probably a suitable time to go to a quick break during qualifying so we can get a drink and stuff ahead of the race. And
and I can get my rain poncho. So yeah.
Yes.
Fine.
I'll go get mine as well. But
Okay.
We'll see you in a moment then, in about 10 minutes time for the race here in FS2 in Canada. Hello and welcome back to FS2. We are here for the Canadian Grand Prix, and warm-up's just coming to a close. And, well, it is Luke Mitchell on pole. No, it's not Luke Mitchell on pole position. I'm going mad. I apologise. I was reading off the warm-up standings, not the qualifying results. But regardless, it's Ruben Machado on pole position, isn't it? So it should be a good race. Anyhow, and I'm hearing reports of a potential for a little bit of rain during the race. Menno can fill us in.
Yeah, well, I heard also a bit, but I'm not seeing loads, so it might be safe for now, but we will see when we're going through the race session, which should be happening in a moment from now. And then we will see if the rain is there. For that we need to wait a bit for the rain, or maybe the rain will not be there at all. That's the interesting thing of sim racing. You never know what you're gonna get. So we're waiting.
And of course, if there is rain, it's going to be a question of whether the teams actually have wet setups or not. Because if they don't, then they might be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, and I think it will be interesting if it is how much rain is there, because when do you want to switch over to the tires? Which compound do you want to start? It will all be very interesting. But that's, I think, for later. We will keep an eye out what we see from the information. I think the live timing and stuff. I believe we're now waiting for everybody to line up on the grid. So our field is 30 drivers today. So we're missing two potential cars will not be driving today. I believe one of the cars is one of the academy cars. We only got one academy car today in the race. And I think we're missing another driver somewhere, but I'm not sure who that is.
So here we go then. Formation lap about to get underway in just a few seconds at time. Ruben Machado is going to lead the field away, the number 75. And, well, he's got the inside line into turn one as well, which might be a little bit more of a disadvantage than an advantage, purely because of the angle of that second part of the chicane, as we're just trying to get the starting order graphic sorted, but it's gone to the wrong page. But Menno, can you take us through the starting order, please?
Yes, it's Ruben Machado on pole position. Then in second position it is Luke Mitchell with Steven Lexel in P3, and I already lost P4, that is Jack Mayer. And then we've got Scott Mitchell in P5, Alex Luke P6, Massimiliano Riboli P7 with Remco de Zeeuw in P8. 9th position is for Bryn Evans with the 10th position for Osama Knani. Jack Nichols in P11 and Dan Hajek in P12. P13 is for Luca Gray with Josh Downard starting in P14. P15 is for Lucas Thailand, and P16 is for Yusuf Bin Sulay. And 17 is for Maciej Sandak. Tommy Koivunen starts in P18 with Dan Hunt P19 and Silver Joffert in P20. Then we've got the final 10 positions. We've got Alessandro Valente in P21. P22nd is Lilian Heliaret with Maxime Beaulieu in P23, and P24 was Will Gibson with Stan Flickstra in P25, Caitlin Penny P26, Mihailo Vicencevic in P27 with P28 for Christian Mena, and Alex Hallows and Scott Morris round out the field. And do I see a little bit more rain now? I believe I see a bit of rain, but I'm not sure.
Well, Menno, you see better than me. Oh, Ruben Machado!
You nearly lost it there. Oh, and did he sustain damage? Yeah, you can be really quick at qualifying, but you can only throw it away once.
But also on in the background as well has a little bit of an issue, and it is raining.
I think it's raining, and now we'll see what will happen. Will we have people going from the pit still? No, I think everybody will take the start. So we're waiting for the lights to go on, and we will see who will have the best start.
Is Ruben Bichette actually into the pits? I think there was just a few lag issues there, but we're going to wait for the lights. And, well, here they are.
Yeah,
they are on. And, well, it is eventually lights out and away we go. And Ruben Bichette gets a pretty good start down into turn 1. Is Luke Mitchell going to be able to pull alongside him and try and get a move? And everything's a little bit tentative as they head through turn 1 and turn 2. King's Racing Cars is having a little bit of an issue, and with the rain, everyone being very, very tentative and just nervous at the start of the race, hence why we're not seeing too many positions being made up. Jack Mayer
crash behind. It's Will Gibson who spun. It's Mihajlo Fincevic who spun and lost his front wing. Scott Morris spun. I think Will Gibson got out of this without a front wing loss, but this is not what he of course wanted, so I think it is quite slippery. I'm looking at all the info I can get what the rain percentage is, but I can't find it for now. But you see it's slippery offline. You've got a lot of people who are searching for grip, and will we see early pitters? I am not sure if that's the right way to go, but we'll see. It's still Ruben Bichette who leads nearly at the end of the first lap with Luke Mitchell in P2, and Jack Mayer looks quick. He already looks for, I think, for a potential move around the outside of Luke Mitchell, but will he have the...
Here's Jack Mayer, as I apologise, Menno, going down into the chicane on Luke Mitchell. He wants the championship lead back after it was actually taken away from him on penalties. The sheet I was looking at in qualifying was slightly updated, but in the end, there's some people. That was Yusuf heading into the Wall of Champions. We've seen him do that already today, and with a little bit of rain still on the circuit, everyone just being very, very nervous. And remember, there is a new system in rFactor 2 for how the rain is calculated. We see Lucas Thylin trying to make a move on Jack Nichols, and he's going to go down the inside at the Sebastian Vettel corner and make the move pretty safely. There is a new way that rain works. It's no longer a percentage. It's a little bit different now as Jack Nichols tries to counter-attack around the outside and can't quite find the room to make that particular move.
Yeah, we see a lot of people actually having a bit of problem staying on track, or at least staying on the racing line. But yeah, we're not sure actually if it's raining, but we see a lot of slipper. People having problems with the current grip level. So we're looking into it, and now we've got Stephen Lexlow jumping ahead of Jack Mayer into P3, but Jack Mayer thinks, no, I'm going to attack you again, and I want to get that P3 back. And look at Alex Lahou. Alex Lahou is coming, in the inside of Jack Mayer. And will he go for the prize for one? No, he doesn't. Oh, and a big jump from Jack Mayer and Stephen Lexlow over the, the last corner curb. But that can be a race ender if you launch yourself in a wrong way. So Tom, do you see anything?
And as we see, there's someone around, and I believe it's one of the Alfa Sierra cars. I fear that was Riboli, and it is Massimiliano Riboli, and in fact he's tangled up with one of the other drivers there as well, and someone has lost their front wing, and dare I say it, I want to say that's another Alfa Sierra.
It's Remco. It's Remco. I think it's Remco.
Yes, Remco's falling down the order, so it wasn't an Alfa Sierra ring. However, that is quite dramatic, and I'm trying to get the weather forecast up so I can see whether it's raining or not. However, that is not what Massimiliano Riboli would have wanted at all. Here's Tommy Guvian trying to make his way up the order in the 07 car, trying to get it further into the points, maybe even into the top 10. And, he's got Luke Thylin and Jack Nichols just ahead of him. But I wonder what happened with that Massimiliano Riboli thing. It just at turn 1, he seemed to spin around. And if it is indeed raining, that could be a contributing factor. We now see Stephen Lexlow under pressure from Jack Mayer. Of course, Jack Mayer now actually, as we find it, is 2 points down in the championship. But trying to make a move on Stephen Lexlow. and not quite able to find it into turn 1. All of a sudden, Scott Mitchell has caught up in the King's Racing car as Jack Nicholls goes around the outside of Luca Gray down into turn 2, and they're banging wheels and making contact, but Jack Nicholls in the end eventually is able to just squeeze ahead, and it's 3 wide down into turn 1 as there's some yellow flags and some people going all over the road, but Alejandro Valente now trying to make it for a move into the points, into P15. Down the inside he goes, and he's not quite able to find the room, I should say, and has to actually settle for 17th in the end, and it's just ahead. Josh Downers trying to make the move, and these lot are having a right old scrap in this little gaggle of cars, and down the inside goes. Oh, there's contact at the back, and that's Bilo and Penny.
Penny lost his front wing. No. She lost it there. I think, just on the turning point, they hit each other, and she was launched into oblivion, or let's say the wall. But my God, that was just. It's a shame that it happened so early in the race. That's of course what you don't want to see. From what I saw, Mihailo Vincencevic, Remco de Zeeuw, and Massimiliano Riboli all already went to the pits to change or repair the damage, and now Caitlin Penny needs to go to the pits as well.
And I'm being told it's not actually raining, so some of the drivers just having grip issues regardless. And here's Luke Thylin trying to go for a move down the inside in the servo competition car, not quite able to find the room on Jack Nicholls, who's currently holding on to 10th position and actually trying to make moves forward. Jack Nicholls on Luca Gray, who must have got him back through the DRS. And Thylin is just essentially watching at this stage, can't find a way past himself. And it's a little bit of a DRS train, isn't it? Which can be so frustrating to be involved in. Ruben Machete still leads the race, it should be noted, although not by a great amount, as there was a huge drop off in his pace for a second, but it's gone back. Must be a timing glitch. Here is Thylin thinking about the move on Nicholls, not going to come to fruition for him in the end.
Yeah, and let's see what they can all do with the DRS, because it's a Kanani train, Osama Kanani train you can call it, and from P8 to what is it, P13? It's a right old snake at the back straight, so it's very cool to see, and he does do a really good job in P8, Osama Kanani. If you would have asked me before the round, that this would have happened, this part of the race, no, I wouldn't have said no. I'm not sure, but he's doing an amazing job for these moments. And I believe Jack Nicholls wants to go for a move on Luca Gray. Looks to...
It would have been brave, and Nicholls thinks against it in the end. And Luca Gray just has to hold on to 9th position for the time being. These two have had a little bit of a scrap all throughout this race, and Nicholls in the number 29 car can't quite find a way through, and that'll be frustrating considering his teammate is up in 6th position. That's Scott Mitchell, and Nicholls still can't quite find a way through, and he's really being held up here by Kanani. In 8th position is Luca Gray, and Jack Nicholls now can maybe find a little bit of overspeed on Luca, and we're going to have to wait to see. He definitely thinks about the move down into the chicane, and I don't think he's quite the braking zone for that. Let's see if he can get DRSs. Oh no, Kanani is round and into the wall. And now this is going to give Jack Nicholls the perfect opportunity to go and make the move. But Kanani, on his debut in the series, has a huge... It's not his debut, sorry. I take that back. In his first chance for points, spins around and, loses his front wing. And it's going to be very premature. He's got his front wing. Sorry, there was a visual glitch on my screen for a moment.
I think that's the most important thing. Of course, he made a big mistake, but he is still in there. He doesn't need to pit if the damage is not too bad. And he's still in for, maybe
it's
not a great
Mayer goes for the move, and he gets it through on Stephen Lexo up into 3rd position. And, that's kind of spoiling the Red Ven party a little bit. And Jack Nicholls eventually gets through on Luca Gray using that DRS. And now he is the leader of the DRS train. It's now a Jack Nicholls train. As we move on forward, Alex Laho trying to get back to his ways he's found a reasonable amount of form recently, and now he's trying to make a move on Stephen Lexo. The room doesn't quite open up for him. He had a double DNF at Monaco. However, towards the end of the first sort of stint of the season, he was finding a fair bit of pace. 2 podiums in Portugal and Azerbaijan, as Scott Mitchell now is under pressure and has to defend off of Bryn Evans into the hairpin and holds on to 6th.
Yes. So, I think...
But for how long? As now, Bryn Evans, all of a sudden, is going for the move, and just ahead of us, we can see Jack Mayer pulling to defend on Stephen Lexo, and Alex Laho trying to make the best of the situation, as we see Bryn Evans still just pushing Scott Mitchell through the corner.
Look at the exit move.
And with the DRS now, he's going to try and make the move. Is Bryn Evans almost pushed all the way onto the grass, and we're going to see if Laho can go down the inside as well, just in the top of your picture, as Scott Mitchell's able to hold on, and Laho is going to have to stay in 5th position for the time being. The DRS train being so powerful as we approach half distance in race 1.
Yeah, well, it's pretty powerful, and we now have got a move for P16. It's Maxime Beaulieu on Osama Knani, and they both spin into turn 1, and they lose loads of position. So it's Osama Knani his race is going from bad to worse. Now he is in P22. Maxime Beaulieu in P20. Oh,
tries to make a move on. I want to say that's Turamola, but I haven't seen him today, and he might be that far down the order. It's 21st position. It's Alex Hallows has moved to Scuderia Cap.
Yeah, Michael Tumala isn't there today, so he is replaced by Alex Hallows today.
I didn't think I'd seen him as Kanani now tries to defend, but we switch back to Alex Laho as Stephen Lexo's going to go for the move on Jack Mayer, and Jack Mayer might find himself swamped here down into the chicane as Lexo's around the outside, and now Laho tries to fancy his chances into the chicane, and jumping over the curb, Jack Mayer just about is able to defend for P4, but he has lost the podium position and is now going to have to try his hand at getting back at Stephen Lexo, who wants to set his sights on Scott Mitchell with 10 laps remaining in the race.
So we're more or less halfway now, with Ruven Machete now leading. Actually, he's walking away from Luke Mitchell. I think lap by lap, he's just a fraction quicker, and yeah, now it's Luke Mitchell now in P2, and he can only follow Stephen Lexo now in P3, with Jack Mayer still very close. This battle is far from over, but Alex
Valente
looking very good in P5. What is with Valente? Or
I could have sworn I just saw him turn around. He might have just had a bit of a slide, but as we switched away camera angle, it looked like his car was getting a little bit squirrely. There are yellow flags in sector 1 regardless. I think Valente
Knani again. Knani spun again. I think the whole car is not responding like it should after the hit when he was in P8, and now he had another spin. So it's going from bad to worse to even worse. Before.
Jack Mayer now back on Stephen Lexo. He's going to try and make the move up into 3rd position, and once again the pendulum of the DRS around this circuit working for the trailing car, and not working very well for the car that's 2nd in the train, and that is Alex Laho, or 3rd in the train I suppose, as now Jack Mayer weaves to try and break DRS. Perhaps a little bit cheeky. You're not supposed to do that, but it wasn't too egregious, that's for certain, as Luca Gray now tries to make a move on Jack Nichols, and these two have been battling all race long, and Jack Nichols just about stays ahead, but they have got Thailand just behind them, starting to put a little bit of pressure on.
Yeah, Thailand is doing a pretty good race, and he's if he can finish in P10, I think we will be really happy with it. Who also is driving a very good race, and I don't want to jinx it, is Bryn Evans. Bryn Evans is doing an amazing race, and he can see the podium just driving in front of him, only a few seconds in front of him. There it is, the podium that everybody wants, and he just there.
Now thinks about a move down into the hairpin. He's going to get DRS regardless, so this is just a little bit of extra. A little bit of an extra for him, I suppose, and he gets the move and he's looking to 3rd position, and now Jack Mayer, who hasn't got the DRS, so he's going to find himself a little bit of a sitting duck here, is now going to find himself under further pressure from Alex Lahoe, but Lahoe just eventually has to stay behind and can't quite find the pace. And look at how much curb Jack Mayer is running as he was all the way up to the wall of champions.
Hit the wall there. Did Lexo?
No, he didn't quite hit the wall. But Lahoe's still just behind and can't quite find the move. I wonder if a little bit of this is Lahoe just settling for 5th position, just accepting that would be a good result for him and not really wanting to get involved in these two's business. And, well, it's hard-fought business at the moment as Stephen Lexo fighting not only for the Constructors' Championship, but for his teammates' prospects as well. His teammate, who by my reckoning, would go into the championship lead after this race.
And we got a second retirement. It's Osama Knani, who parked the car and is out. Hopefully we'll see him back in race 2. So now we will look at the debutants. So it's Christian Mena now in P26 with Will Gibson in P21, which is pretty decent if you look that he was I think stationary for quite a while in I think turn 3 at lap 1, but he is doing a great job I think after the incident. And he's now working hard to overtake Stan Vlietstra. And then we've got Yusuf bin Suhail, who's now in P18. So the debutants are not in point scoring positions, but some of them are not far off.
It's still line of stern between Lexo, Mayer and Lahoe. Although that being said, there's a little bit of backmarker traffic getting involved and perhaps a little bit unsavourily as it remains.
Mitchell and Evans. And Brett Evans stays in front in P6. That's also a very good battle. Scott Mitchell, with all his experience against, I think, the young gun, Brent Evans. And Brent Evans wants to...
the other Kings Racing car finds himself under a little bit of pressure. Lucas Thylin on Jack Nicholls, trying to make the move. He has got past Luca Gray now, and Luca Gray falling down the order a little bit in this little train. Jack Nicholls holding on to the lead of the train at least. And it's a huge slide for Thylin, and he does very well to hold on to that one. And that gives Jack Nicholls some instrumental breathing room. And now Thylin is going to find himself under a lot of pressure from Luca Gray down into the chicane, and Luca is going to think against a move, and perhaps sensibly so. Because I wonder if Jack Nicholls can now just push on and break the DRS, as Jack Mayer is starting to drop Alex Lahoe a little bit. And if it weren't for DRS, I think Lahoe would very much have fallen down the order here, and not fallen down the order so much, but have lost track of this battle at least.
Yes, and we now already got 13 laps done, so that means we only got 5 left. And Mitchell is very close to...
Here he goes. Evans. He's going to be pushed almost all the way onto the grass. It's like Button and Hamilton in 2011, and Mitchell now switches to the outside. Not quite able to make the move, though, as Evans just ahead of him got DRS off of that back marker.
Evans was smart there. He didn't do anything which was not allowed. He just said, no, this is my space, and if you want to pass, you need to create your own space. And with create, I mean not push Brent Evans by, but just, being very clear, this is my space, and there is, more or less no space for you to pass, at least on the left side of me. So Brent Evans is working for that P6.
As Remco Tazou has had to pit for damages just a little bit down the order, as Alex Hallows has also crashed out of the race, and Kanani another retirement, though I think we mentioned that one earlier.
Lucas Island is off. He missed the corner, but he just rejoined in P10.
And this has given Jack Nicholls the breathing room that we were on about, and I think he's actually broken DRS range now, so he's just ahead and can actually push on and consolidate that 8th position in this race. A 7th and 8th for Kings Racing, a very solid for their troubles, as Yusuf has had a bit of an issue with Josh Downard, actually, and they've both spun around, and there's someone just behind them. That could be a little bit interesting, as it's Massimiliano Riboli, I apologise, trying to make the move for 20th position now, and Jack Mayer stays 4th position as we switch back to that battle and switch back to Scott Mitchell trying to make the move on Bryn Evans. And surely now with the DRS, this is his move for the taking. as there's not going to be DRS here. We're not quite on the part of the track that I thought we were. But Scott Mitchell still behind and a little bit stuck here. And this is helping his teammate actually catch up a little bit. It's about 8 seconds, that gap, back to Jack Nicholls. And maybe he can catch up if these two continue to battle and lose each other time. Scott Mitchell now with the DRS isn't going to find room to make a move into the chicane. It's not the most favoured place to go for an overtake. And in fact, he's going to wait for the hairpin and the DRS range, DRS zone just after that to make the move. And now around the outside at the hairpin. And I don't really think there was much point in defending there from Bryn Evans, as it's just going to lose him time down this straight, as now Scott Mitchell with the DRS is going to surely make the move. Now he's practically pushing Bryn Evans down the straight. It's almost a bump draft, and he is going to make the move and should theoretically be ahead of him before the corner. And there we go. Can now try and push on and get ahead of Bryn. But a solid defence from Bryn Evans whilst it lasted.
That was one of the most hard-fought P6 I ever saw, and that was amazing defending from Bryn Evans. But yeah, in the end, I think Scott clearly was the faster guy at the most of the track. So yeah, he now made it work.
Joffert gets up into 13th position, though he made it very, very tricky for himself, and is now going to find himself under a little bit of pressure. Not using DRS, which is very interesting, as surely a mistake, but manages to just about hold on to 13th, not very convincingly, but does get that position in the end. And actually no, as now down the inside goes Sandak and Dan Hutt even, and all gets pushed into the wall. So Joffert just stays ahead on lap 15 of this race.
Yeah, the thing is, they are all looking at the reverse grid position, so they want to be in the top 50. Well, we've got a mistake from Stephen Lexlow at the hairpin, and now Jack Mayer is already alongside, and I believe he will have DRS, so he will go back into P3. Let's see who will have DRS. It is Jack Mayer. Jack Mayer is getting behind Steve Lexlow. Look at Leho, it's 3 wide into the last corner. Who will break late? It's the Frenchman who breaks latest. Yes, it's Alex Lou from P5 to P3. Oh, wow. That jumped me right off my chair, nearly. And now we've got Jack Mayer, who's looking to pass the German for P4. But what an exit Alex Lou had. It was like a slingshot, Tom.
It was, and well, it was Mayer just being a bit indecisive of where he's going to put the car, and in the end, Laho is able to reap the rewards from that. Is it too early though? And is he going to get swamped as we head into the final 3 laps of this race? This is going to go to 2.5 laps at the end of, it is 2.5 laps now, I should say. And Laho maybe can hold on to this. It's not going to be the most easy thing for him to do. However, if he just puts the car in the right places, then it wouldn't be unheard of. It'd be a very, very good 3rd position for him after a double DNF in Monaco. Remember, he's taken a race win in Portimao all those weeks ago. Got a podium in Azerbaijan and a 7th in the reverse grid as well. Just that double DNF in Monaco being a bit of a stain on his record, but a quietly solid season. And Alex Lowe, probably my driver of the season so far. But now he's going to find himself under pressure from Stephen Lexo, someone who is gunning for the Constructors' Championship at least. And Laho stays ahead. So with 2 laps to go, Alex Laho is on for a very, very respectable finish.
Yes, but he is not there yet, and Steve Lexo is pushing for all he's worth, and so does Jack Mayer. So I am not sure Alex can pull this over the line, but we shall see. It will be mighty, mighty close, I think, in the last 2 laps of this race. And Scott Mitchell and Brett Evans are still very close as well. Now we've got Jack Nicholls and Luca Gray, who are very close. Oh, actually a mistake from Luca Gray there. And actually it's Lucas Thailand who is in P10, more or less in no one's land. And who are the big gainers from the start? I think Alessandro Valente now is in a point scoring position, so that's very good. And also Silver Joffert, I believe he only started P20, is now in P13. So a point scoring position for both the Delta cars will please the team manager Marius van Wijk. And I know you're watching, Marius, so yeah, we hope for the best for your both your drivers.
Because here we go then. Le Houx has got this DRS zone to navigate 2 more times now. And in fact, there's a little bit of lap traffic just ahead of them, which could really play into his hands as they head into the final lap of the race. Le Houx goes as defensive as possible. Lexo is going to try and send one around the outside. Le Houx just closes the door, and it's a very brave defence from the Frenchman, and he holds on to 3rd position. Now, Lexo is going to try and steal back the podium that he feels he has so much deserved in this race, and Le Houx into the final lap of the race, days in front, as we now watch Bryn Evans try and make a move on Scott Mitchell. Ruven Machede still leads the race. He's going to walk away with it, barring any silly mistakes into this final lap. But I think it's worth going back to Stephen Lexo and Alex Le Houx, actually, purely because of how close that battle is as they head into the final lap of this race. And Stephen Lexo still not able to find a way through. Yeah, and Le Houx is just holding on.
But keep looking at Jack Mayer. If Le Houx and Lexo will be going side by side into the last braking zone, it will be Mayer who can capitalize on that. I think Mayer is just watching for any opening if the 2 guys in front, Lexo and Le Houx, will go side by side. We're nearly there for Ruven Machede for the win, but of course the battle for P3 is amazing.
Here we go then, as Ruven Machede is going to come across the line for a win here in Canada.
And there's Lexo, there's Lexo.
As Lexo's going for the move, Le Houx on the outside. Is he going to be able to bravely hold on to this one? As Machede comes home for the win, Stephen Lexo gets 3rd position away from Alex Le Houx in the end. It was 1 lap too many, and it's a Red Ven Racing 1-3 here, with Luke Mitchell finishing in the middle. As Scott Mitchell now just ahead of Bryn Evans across the line, gets the position. As now we see Jack Nichols actually and Luca Gray having a little bit of a scrap, but Nichols is going to hold on to P8 in the end. But Ruven Machede is going to be the dominant winner here in Montreal, and Stephen Lexo is going to get 3rd position in the end. Something pretty big for their Constructors' Championship, considering that Massimiliano Riboli didn't finish in the points.
Yeah, so that's race 1. My God, that was exciting. But the whole race finish, everywhere it was exciting. I mean, Ruven Machede checked out, and yeah, I believe we were not watching him that much. But yeah, the battle from P3 to P5, that was amazing, and also the battle from P6 and 7 was worth mentioning. What a race we had.
It certainly was a good race, as we see the race winner doing a few donuts, which I'm never a fan of, as I think unless you've won the championship or taken your first win, donuts are a little bit over the top. But actually, I think he stalled the car in the end. As Menno, you could do the honours of going through the provisional results.
Yes, so it's Ruven Machede who wins race 1 here at Montreal. Then we've got Luke Mitchell who gets another podium. Well done, Luke. Stephen Lexo gets that really important 3rd position in front of Alex Le Houx in P4, and Jack Mayer finishing a good P5. Scott Mitchell P6 after a great fight with Bryn Evans, who brings home an amazing P7. With Jack Nichols, I think a decent P8. With Luca Gray in P9 and Lucas Thailand, a very good P10 for Servo competition. Then Tommy Koivunen, a decent P11. Maciej Sandak, P12, with Silver Joffert from P20 driving to P13, a good race for him. Then Alessandro Valente in P14, scoring 2 points, and the final point in this race will go to Dan Hood. Then the non-scoring positions is in P6 is Maxime Bouliou, Dan Hayek in P17, Will Gibson in P18 after a good recovery drive, Remco de Zeeuw in P19 with Massimiliano Riboli in P20. Then we go to the final 10 participants. Then we have Stan Vrijkstra in P21, Scott Morris in P22, and then with 1 lap less driven Christian Mena, with Mihailo Vincencevic in P24, P25 for Yusuf Bin Suhail, who lost his front wing in an incident, and Caitlin Penny in P26. Did not finish were Josh Downard, Alex Hallows, Osama Kanani, who drove very good at the beginning, but sadly he didn't finish, and Lilian Hillier in P30. So this is race 1. I think we will go for a bit of a break, and when we're back, it's time for race 2, and then we will also tell you about the reverse grid number, and then we will have even more fun with race 2. So we're looking forward to that. Let's get something to drink.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve, Montreal in Canada. And, well, after a pretty exciting race one, albeit dominated by Reuven Michede, we're ready and raring to go for race two. I am Tom Dillon. Alongside me, once again, is Menno Klont. And Menno, the news from the race control box is that the top 15 are reversed, and just how damaging could that be for the likes of Reuven Michede, who now have to cut through 15 people?
Well, of course, they have the pace, but I think it all depends on how fast they can, of course, go through that field and how lucky they are at the start to do the right thing. So it will be very interesting. So we've got the most positions which could be reversed are reversed, so that makes it a very interesting race too already. We will walk you through the starting grid in a moment. And for race two, we've got 29 drivers. So we've got one that didn't do race two. I'm not sure who that is, but yeah, we will look into that later.
So once again, I'll put Menno in charge of doing the starting order once the formation lap gets underway here. But we can tell you it's Dan Hood on pole position from Alejandro Valente, and that could get spicy down into turn 1. Dan Hood looking for his first race win in FS2, and in fact, Valente also looking for his first win in FS2. Of course, Dan Hood started the season in the Academy Series and eventually made his way up.
They will have a good chance, I think. But let's first look into the starting positions. If the graphic is loading, it's Dan Hood on pole position for race 2 with Alessandro Valente in P2, Silver Joffert is starting in P3, and Maciej Sandak in P4. P5 is there for Tommy Koivunen with Lucas Thailand in P6, Luca Gray in P7 with Jack Nichols in P8. P9 is for Bryn Evans with Scott Mitchell in P10, Jack Mayer is in P11 with Alex Lehoux in P12. Then P13 is for Stephen Lexo with P14 for Luke Mitchell, and Ruven Machede, our race 1 winner, is starting from P15 with Maxime Bleu in P16. Then we've got Dan Hayek in P17, Will Gibson in P18, Remco de Zeeuw in P19, and Massimiliano Ripoli is starting from P20. The final 9 positions are Stan Vlietstra P21st, Scott Morris in P22nd, P23 is there for Christian Menna, and P24 was there actually looking Mihailo Vincevic, Yusuf Bin Suhal in P25, Caitlin Penny P26, just down at in P27, and in P28 we have Osama Knani, and in 29th position is Lilian Hilirare. And that's our grid for race 2. So, Tom, predictions? You want to predict something, or you don't want to give the commentator's curse to somebody? I'm
not planning to tempt fate, but I'm just hoping it will be a pretty entertaining race, and I'm gutted don't have any rain in there.
Let's see if the top 5, who had a performance, I think had a lot of more performance than I think the rest of the field, if they can move up quickly through the ranks of P15, P10 towards the front of the grid. We shall see.
Here we go then. Let's wait for the lights. And Dan Hood takes pole position for the first time in his GPVWC career, at least in FS2. He might have got a pole position in Academy at the start of the year, but in FS2 this is at least his first pole position. It's going to be a nervous run down into turn 1. Here we go then, 5 red lights, and it is lights out, and away we go here in Montreal for a second time, and Dan Hood gets a perfect start down into turn 1 with Alejandro Valente trying to challenge him, but it's going to be in vain in the end as Dan Hood maintains his lead off of the start. Jack Nichols is under pressure trying to make up a couple of positions, and in fact he's chopping and diving, and he's eventually able to get up to 7th position, I just say, and Bryn Evans onto the grass does a Sebastian Vettel, jumping in the air, and Scott Mitchell at the back has a little bit of an issue on the curb, but he's now trying to make a move on Bryn Evans, who himself is trying to make a move just ahead of him on Alex Lehoux, after narrowly missing out on the podium in the first race, is trying to immediately get started in this one. Silver Joffert is trying to make a move on Alejandro Valente down into the chicane. No DRS for a couple of laps yet, and they make contact, and they're both round. In fact, no, just Joffert in the end, but Valente holds on quite nicely, and Joffert comes out into traffic.
That rejoin Silver, that you can't do that. And that was a bit naughty, I think, full of adrenaline. He drove back on the track. And there's
a huge crush down into the hairpin. And is that Massimiliano Riboli? It is, and Luca Gray's teammate into the wall almost. And Silver Joffert is in 16th position in the end, and Maxime Bilou just ahead of him as he tries to make a move down into the chicane. I'm not too sure if that's going to happen for him, as we look at Stephen Lexo already made up a few positions off of the start, and Lehoux is driving very, very well so far, trying to make a move now on Luca Gray down the inside. Jack Nichols is around the outside for 5th position, and he's on an absolute charge after that first lap. Jack Nichols driving very, very well so far indeed, but he's still alongside and just trying to edge out Luca Thielin as they head down into the second chicane on the circuit. It's full of chicanes, this circuit, and Jack Nicholls in the end. Oh no, that's Luca Gray, and that's a huge accident.
Yeah, and he lost his front wing, so I think it's game over for Luca Gray in race 2. Yeah, people are trying to take a bit more risk when in race 1 they leave that gap a bit open. Now they are a bit more aggressive, and that's of course what we don't want to see too much, but I can understand it. But Luca Gray will not score points, yeah, and he is our second retirement of this race 2. But in
There's
front,
now Bryn Evans down the inside on Jack Nicholls, gets up into 6th position. So Nicholls' progress halted ever so slightly, and now he's going to find himself under pressure from his teammates if he's not careful. But he's still alongside with Evans, and he's going to try and make a move around the outside at the final chicane. Mind the wall of champions on the right hand side. Make sure you don't go into that, but Nicholls is through.
Yeah, I must say, with 3 laps done, it's still Dan Hood leading for Alessandro Valente.
No, Massimiliano Riboli is around.
Oh. So, yeah, so it's actually Dan Hood with the fastest lap, and I expected more from the race 1 guys to be quicker through the field, and it's not going that fast as I expected. It's still the top 5 is still, I think, from people who are more or less started from that position, and that's I will ask myself the question, and maybe Tom, do you think a surprise result is in play for this the second round, or is it too early?
Not too sure, but I can tell you that Jack Nicholls is now around the outside of Bryn Evans. It's actually round Nicholls into the wall, and Mitchell as well.
Oh,
the 2 Kings Racing cars have an absolute nightmare of a sequence of corners, and now Stephen Lexo up into 7th position. Patience pays off, and around the outside at the hairpin for 6 as DRS still not quite enabled. And in fact, Luke Mitchell is now going to pull alongside him as they head down. They're going to make it 3 wide into the chicane, you would think, and Luke Mitchell just not quite having the speed on this one. He does have DRS in the end, and it is going to be 3 wide down into the chicane, and I think Evans is just going to pull out of that one. There's no need to even think about that, as Lexo is through. It was Lahoe even, not Evans.
Yeah, and it's a very, very interesting couple of corners, and let's see if we see moves. It's a move for P11. No, it isn't. So they're still all driving while I now have the full footage again. But it's Dan Hood who's doing just a superb job at the moment. He's not, I think, super quick, but he's just doing the best laps he can do now, and I think they more or less, maybe they are more or less working together a bit at the front. Maybe they more or less all told themselves, let's not battle too much and try to make each other lose as little time as possible. And if Stephen Lexo is checking in the end of the race, we might have some margin to play with, but I don't know. Well, we've got a good battle from P4. It's Tommy Koivunen and Lucas Thielin. Lucas Thielin already got a great P10, but he wants more. He smells a very good finish is possible. He's braking later. Oh, he's braking later. He's getting Tommy Koivunen. Tommy Koivunen was a bit shocked about, I think, the move, but was it coming? And we've got a move from the lead. It's Alessandro Valente and Dan Hood. Not yet, but Alessandro looks pretty quick. Maybe Alessandro thinks now it's time to check out and pass Dan, but Dan doesn't wants to yield, and he is still ahead. Alessandro hit the wall quite hard, but he's still in challenge.
Just apologise. Jack Mayer was under a little bit of pressure as Bryn Evans is edging out Jack Nicholls in the background, as Nicholls is now trying to avenge himself, and around the outside thinks about the move, is not quite able to pull that one off, and now Stephen Lexo is turning his attentions to Alex Lahoe just ahead of him on lap 5 of 18 in this race, not quite able to pull anything off into the chicane, and I don't think they were expecting to. That's for certain. And Kuvian, actually just sitting pretty in 5th position, is going to start to feel a little bit pressured by this. And, well, he's got some very, very fast drivers just behind him. And, well, his days in such a lofty position might be a little bit numbered. Dan Hutt, however, is driving very, very solidly so far. And as long as he can just put as much distance to this little pack as he can, then he should be in good position. As Lexo now down the inside is going to go for the move into the chicane, and Le Houx, and in a shades much like race 1, is able to edge him out. But for how long, as Kuvian is now at the head of the DRS train.
And let's see. So Lexo and Le Houx are now 5 seconds from the lead. So it's all to play for, even for those guys, if they can make the move soon. But it is a very big train is now forming behind Koivunen, and Koivunen crashes, and a big crash!
Accident! And there was 3 cars! There was 3 cars involved in that one, and it's Steven Lexo, the worst affected, and I'm not too sure what happened there, but Lexo, absolutely huge disappointment, and ironically, it's worked out for his teammates, who, despite maybe carrying a bit of damage, is up into 7th position.
Oh, give that Steven Lexo a break. He is so unlucky, and also Luke Mitchell. We've got 2 of the absolute best drivers of this season. Knocked out by an incident, and I am not sure what caused it. I think it might be lag related or anything, but Tommy Koivunen has got a lot of damage as well. He didn't lose a front or a rear wing, but that car is seriously wounded. So another position. Well, we've got a change of lead. It's Alessandro Valente who took the lead now in after 6 laps. Well, it's now 7 laps completed, and he now thinks it's time to go. And the top 4 is really close. They all feel maybe that podium position is possible. I believe Maciej Sandak never got a pole. Lucas Silent never got a pole.
Oh, Nichols onto the grass and is around for the 2nd time in this race. And what a torrid time some of the front runners from the first race are having, and Jack Nichols has really been in the wars today.
Yeah. And I meant podiums. Some of them never got a podium, and maybe they feel that this is the chance, but only 3 guys can get the podium, and Alex Le Houx and Ruben Machete are hunting the group down. So let's see, with a few laps to go.
There's contact between Thylin and the person in 3rd. I couldn't quite see who that was. I think it was Dan Hutt, actually. And, well, that was... it's worked out for Thylin, who's now into 2nd position, and Sandak it was in the end, in a downforce car actually, who got hit, has got to defend from Dan Hutt, who all of a sudden, after bravely holding on to that 1st position for the majority of this race, is now falling down the order and actually finding himself under pressure for 5th position from Alex Le Houx, who will be looking for a podium after what was overall a pretty disappointing race 1.
Yeah, that's very true. Oh, and Dan Hutt is getting really wide. And Alex Le Houx is now already in P5, and he now knows there is another podium position on the cards for him. So he is going for the move. P5, Alex Le Houx going P4, not yet.
Don't throw it away, Alex. You've got the podium. It's there for the taking, as Jack Nichols is trying to go on his 2nd recovery drive of this race, and usually you say 2nd recovery drive of the evening, but no, of this race. And even though it's only on lap 8, and he goes for the switchback move actually, and he's going to go down the inside into the chicane up into P12, and not quite going to be able to make it. And that's really, it's good that the top 15 score points, because it means Nichols isn't going to go home empty-handed. The home now is going to go down the inside, and all the banging wheels and through eventually Alex Le Houx, but Dan Hutt is going to have to take the grass, and Le Houx hits the wall, but it is let through in the end, and Ruben Machete gets let through as well.
Yes, and I think the biggest gainer of this this changing of more or less all the positions is Alessandro Valente, because he checked out, and he's got a performance gain on Lucas Silent. He looks pretty quick now, Alessandro, and can he get that win then? It's still long to go, but he looks quite decent now. but we're not there yet.
Laho is hampered and overtaken by Ruven Machede, and he can now focus on trying to get a podium himself. Valente leads the race for the first time this season, and Bryn Evans tries to go down the inside of Dan Hutt now, and continues Dan Hutt's rapid descent down the order. However, Dan Hutt just doesn't have the pace, and he's not driving badly. He just perhaps hasn't got the package to contend today, and he did well to stay in the lead for as long as he did, as we're now halfway through this race. Alejandro Valente, however, clearly does have the package once he's at the front, and is currently holding on to the race lead by 1.5 seconds from Lucas Theilen. It's only fair we say that he's dominating at this stage, because if it was Ruven Machede in the lead by that margin, we'd say that he had it pretty safely. Yeah. But of course, in race 2, the different paces perhaps changes that equation a little bit.
And let's look at the debutants, where they are at this moment. We've got Christian Mena now in P18, with Yusuf Bin Suhal close to the points in P16, and Will Gibson now is having that P15. Let's see what he can do. Well, we have just had Stan Fritzsche retire, so he is out of the race, which means we will have 24 drivers in this race.
As we head on to lap 10 of the race, Ruven Machede, who all of a sudden is on a very, very good drive for his championship prospects. He's not only going to extend his championship lead after race 1, but he's going to pretty much consolidate it as well, and heading into what will be the second half of the season. And that's a lie, actually. It'll be round 8, won't it? So it'll be the just heading into the second half of the season. But Ruven Machede looking pretty good to perhaps head on and take home the championship at the end of the year. Lots of time to go, however, and I'm being pinged DMs by Luca Gray, and in fact he sent me what happened to him. So while Menno talks about something, I will have a watch of that and tell you what happens.
Yes, what I'm actually noticing is that Lucas Theilen is actually getting closer and closer to Alessandro Valente, so he is getting closer and closer. And can he battle for that lead? That would be something. Maciej Sandak is still in P3, but for how long is he there? Because Ruven Machede already is there, and it depends how fast he can overtake. Because if Ruven overtakes Maciej Sandak pretty quick, he can go for a double. I think he can go for a race 2 win. And he already is there alongside of Maciej Sandak, and he overtakes Maciej Sandak quite easily. But Maciej Sandak wants to fight back, but he doesn't have the DRS. So Ruven Machede did it really smart, and he keeps the P3, and now he can look into
push on.
Yeah, push on to the final 2. And he's got time. He's got time left. And and 5-6 laps ago, I would have said no, they're too far ahead. But with the incident of Lexo and Luke Mitchell, the unfortunate incident, and Tommy Kuivonen, it make the way clear for Ruven Machede. And now we shall see if he can catch them. It will take him, I think, 1 or 2 laps before he is at the back. Or
I want to see, I didn't quite see who got the fastest lap in the first race, but if it was Ruven, then it would have been a Grand Slam, wouldn't it? And I think this would be about as close to a full weekend Grand Slam as you could get for Ruven Machede. And even though, of course, it's impossible to take 2 pole positions in a weekend. Actually, I suppose if you win the first race, it's impossible to take 2 pole positions. But Machede looking very good for the time being. 3.2 seconds behind the leader, as we have a look at Bryn Evans, who's trying to make his way back up the order, and he's under pressure now from Alex Laho, actually, who down the inside was going to think about a move for a second, as Theilen now for the race lead on Alejandro Valente, as we can't see what's happened, but we go back, and I think he's just about made the move as Luca Theilen down the inside. Is he going to be able to get the extra speed through the corner? Valente hangs it in there, and they rub, and they make as much contact as possible. Theilen almost goes round, and the rear kicked out on him. But I don't think there was anything wrong there with that, particularly on Valente's part, as it was very much an unforced error from Theilen. as Scott Mitchell's trying to make moves forward on Jack Mayer, just ahead of him after being in the wall in the first couple of laps. Lap 12 of 18. He's doing rather well to get himself back up into 9th position. And Jack Mayer holding on for the time being.
Yeah, that was an amazing bit of car control from Lucas Thailand, but he is pushing really hard, and that only helps Ruven Machete. But he isn't there yet. It's still he's still P3, so it's really, really interesting. And yeah, the top 6 is also close, and Dan dropped a bit off, and I think he will be eaten alive by Jack Mayer. So yeah. I think Dan Hurt will be happy if he finishes in the top 10, but of course, when you're so close to a win, then yeah, and he knows what is going to happen. Oh well, we've got Brent Evans on Alex Lehoux. Brent Evans on Alex Lehoux, who will break later. It's Brent Evans. Brent Evans breaks later and gets P4. No, but now we've got Alex Lehoux back, and he's got DRS, so it's the cutback from Alex Lehoux. Oh, great bit of racing, bit of wheel banging, and I think Alex Lehoux has this. Who will has it? And it's Brent Evans. No, it's Lehoux, and Lehoux spins.
Oh, he's round.
Yeah, and that was going to happen. I think that was just 2 cars going for the same spot, and the inside car getting a bit of sliding into the car on the outside. So it's a shame to see. So that's quite costly for Alex. We've got a move from Scott Mitchell in P7, and now out of nothing we've got Jack Mayer now in P6. So he had a good couple of corners.
Machete is just behind this pack, and all of a sudden is starting to sniff a race victory here, a back-to-back in Canada, and Alejandro Valente still holds on to the lead. However, he's going to have I think it's 6 laps at the line to hold on to this, and well, that is no mean feat at all. It's going to be 5 laps actually, isn't it? As now Machete tries to make a move for 2nd position in this race. He's squeezed all the way to the wall, but I think Machete might just have the speed to go around the outside, and in fact he thinks better of it, and he's going to have a second bite at the cherry down into turn 1, and still in the slipstream, just not quite able to find the overspeed in the DRS train. Is going to take a major braking braveness down the inside. He's not quite able to find the pace, but now on the switchback actually gets a rocket ship exit, and the servo competition of Luca Thailand is just able to hold on in the end, but only just. Once again, the 3rd car in the DRS train really disadvantaged.
I give you a bit of thought. Ruven Machete, of course, he can go for this move, but does he need to do it? Because in the end, a P3 will still extend his lead. So does he want to take huge risk? If this goes wrong and he loses a front wing, then he loses a lot of potential points. So he will be very, very careful about it. Oh, and it's so close. We're going 3 wide. We're going 3 on the DRS zone. And who doesn't have DRS? I think it's Tyler.
Machete is going to take the sweep and around the outside. Is he going to be able to take the race lead from the both of them? Ruven Machete is going to go for the move, and is now going to have the DRS as well. Ruven Machete on the 2 of them is going to rocket into the lead of this race, but has he got the DRS? He has, and it's going to be Thailand who misses out, and Machete now is clearly the one who's at the biggest advantage here, but in the end finishes that little straight in 3rd, and perhaps just senses a little bit of trouble and has to back out.
Yeah, I think he feels there is trouble on his way. He's not going to try too much, and there is a send of Lucas Thailand. No, not yet. Oh, and Ruven is looking everywhere, but I think Ruven knows he needs to relax. I know he wants to win this, but he needs to play his cards carefully. And now he's under pressure from
Brent Evans behind.
Yeah, but he will get another shot. I'm pretty sure of it.
There's going to be 3 laps to go at the line, and 3 laps for Ruven Machete to do a little bit here. However, perhaps his perhaps his luck is maybe a little bit out, as it's going to be a 4-car train now for the lead of the race, and we know how difficult it is when you're stuck in that train to actually make any moves on anyone. It's perhaps just running a little bit higher downforce than he, in hindsight, should have. Ruben Machete, I mean, of course it worked for him in race 1 when he didn't have any traffic to contend with, but race 2, maybe not the best setup in the dirty air, particularly when you're having a battle like this for the lead of the race. And now Thylin is going to try and make a move for the lead of the race. He's got the DRS, of course, and is going to switch to the outside on Alejandro Valente. And is he going to be able to make the move? And not quite. And these two battling is actually going to really help Ruben Machete, who perhaps might feel that that his luck has run out and his opportunity for the lead is gone. But now Thylin for the lead of the race down the inside, and Alejandro Valente, is he going to be able to make the move? And he is, and this time he cuts off the inside to make sure that there is no counter-attack from the Italian, who was born in Britain and races under the Bermudan flag. And now back down the inside, Valente not quite able to get the lead of the race back, and he has a bit of a squirrel, and now Machete is going to go through on him. This could be crucial for his prospects to win the race, and Valente puts him off.
Look at Bryn Evans stood on the outside, hero! Woo! Yes, it was Bryn Evans with an amazing move on Ruben. Sorry for me to shout, but I didn't expect that, and he just made it work, Bryn Evans. But I expect Ruben still to get back from this. He is not done. Ruben will put his teeth in the steering wheel, and he will show why he's the championship leader. He is not out for this. We've got 2.5 laps
the inside, Ruben Machete. Down the inside, he's annoyed, he's locked up, and he almost loses the car. And you have to sense that maybe he's just losing his head a little bit, as we're going to go to 2 laps at the line. Thylin leads from Valente, and Valente all of a sudden can start to think that maybe he has a chance at this race.
Look at Valente. Look at Valente.
Around the outside is going to go for the move for the lead of the race. Thylin holds on. Machete around the outside, and Evans jumps over the curb, and that is his chance to the race win. Absolutely over now, as Valente down the inside is going to go for the move for the lead of the race, and he's going to check it from the outside, and he's gone, and he's hit the wall, and he's out of the race. And Thylin leads, and Bryn Evans is in second, and Machete is out of nowhere, suddenly in with a chance of winning the race again, after he was down and out, making a mistake across the curbs.
And it's Master Perez all over again, and it's heartbreak for this guy, for Alexander Valente. No! He was so close, but drama. And I think we all know why this was happening, because you had 2 drivers who feel there is something possible, and then it all goes wrong. And now we've got Bryn Evans for the lead. Who would have thought?
Here we go.
Bryn Evans with 1.5
going to try to make a move for the lead of the race, but now Machete is going to try and spoil the party a little bit down the inside. Ruben Machete takes second position, and is going to have an opportunity to take the lead of the race on the penultimate lap of the race, and now he's just edged out for second position, and this is going to put him into a rather good position heading into the final lap of this race. Here we go then, Machete to the outside to try and take the lead of the race from Bryn Evans. He's just about edged out, but now he's going to have a second opportunity down into turn 1, and then of course an opportunity in the other multitude of DRS zones, but he's not going to need them. He's going to try and do it at the first available opportunity around the outside. Machete just can't quite find the room, and he's going to have to wait for the second and maybe third DRS zone of the lap. Bryn Evans is leading for the time being, but you would have to say that Ruben Machete all of a sudden is perhaps favourite to go on and win this race, as they head now down to the next left-hander. It's a very tricky corner, this one, and the car can step out from you with no real warning, and Bryn Evans is just about 0.5 of a second. He has on the charging German behind you, who, remember, started from 15th in this race on the reverse grid, the very last position on the reverse grid. And now, through the chicane, Ruben Machete is going to have the hairpin and then the DRS zone to go. Here he goes then, in the slipstream. He's not going to go for the move down into the hairpin, as that would not be the best for his prospects. Instead, he's going to wait for the DRS zone. Here we go then, it's all about the exit. Does Bryn Evans try and back him up a little bit? He doesn't. And now, Machete is going to use the DRS and use all of the top speed he has to try and go down the inside heading into the chicane, or maybe even around the outside.
He's got the overspeed, he's got the
and here he goes.
overspeed.
He's going to go around the outside. And now Machete for the final corner, for the lead, for the win in this race. Bryn Evans tries to stick it out, and Ruben Machete is through, and he's going to win here in Canada. He's going to take the sweep. Pole position and 2 wins for Ruben Machete, and he wins the race by a very, very slim margin.
And
it was thousandth of a second in the end.
Photo finish for P5, it's Maciej Sandak, then it's Jack Mayer in P6, Alex Lou finishes in P7 with Dan Hunt in P8, Jack Nichols P9, Maxime Bouillot finishes in P10, Will Gibson at debut, 5 points for Will Gibson with Silver Joffert in P12, Yusuf Bisrael in at debut P13, Luke Mitchell still gets 2 points in P14 and P15 for Stephen Lexlow. And Scott Morris, I feel for Scott Morris, who finishes in P16, his best result, but no points. What a race to, and in the end, it's Ruven, who, you saw him waiting for the opportune moment, and then it went wrong with Valente, and then he just did an amazing job. But wow.
And well, that was a very, very dramatic finish indeed, and I look forward to the noise complaint from the neighbours, that's for certain. But Menno, you can take us through the provisional results and penalties probably to come.
Yeah, well, Ruven Machete, the double from Ruven Machete after a last corner overtake. That's really impressive. Bryn Evans, a really good drive in P2, and Lucas Thailand in P3. But I fear that might not stand after we saw the incident a few laps before the finish. Scott Mitchell now in P4, with Maciej Sandak in P5, Jack Mayer in P6, Alex Lahou in P7, with Dan Hunt in P8, Jack Nichols in P9, and Maxime Lulu in P10. Then the second group, it's Will Gibson in P11, with Silver Joffert in P12, Yusuf Bin Suhail in P13, Luke Mitchell in P14, and Stephen Lexo getting the final points. And then we've got the non-scoring positions, Scott Morris in P16, Danny Hayek in P17, Remco de Zee in P18, Christian Mena in P19, and Josh Downard in P20. Then we've got in P21 Lirian Hillier, and then DNF are Alessandro Valente with Heartbreak, I would say, Tommy Koivunen, Mihailo Vincencevic, Stan Vlietstra, Massimiliano Riboli, Caitlin Penny, Luca Gray, and Osama Knani all DNF'd. So that was the Canadian round done, and what kind of drama we saw. And I believe we've got loads of drivers who want to get interviewed. So I will drag somebody in, and we will drag the first one we will drag in is Alex Lahou. So let's see if he's already there. Hello, Alex.
Hi.
So I think that was quite interesting round for you, with I think amazing battles and a bit of drama for you. Can you take us through both races?
Hi, Menno. Sorry for my voice. I'm actually kind of sick. So yeah, first race, I forgot to load my force feedback settings on. Still managed to get P4 and a double overtake. Sorry. And a double overtake in the final corner against Steven and Jack. I love that battle, by the way. But yeah, Steven managed to get a good exit out of the hairpin, and it was folded by the end of the lap. I'm not dissatisfied. Race 2 could have been better, but excuse me.
Yeah,
P7,
I know.
I don't think P7 is a really bad result considering what I've been through. So not bad, I guess. Could have been better, but I'm going to take what's taken.
Yeah, and after a bit difficult rounds at Monaco, I think you're quite happy to bounce back, right? With the I think the driving with the fastest guys of the grid, battling for the win. So I guess you're really happy with that.
Yeah, definitely feels good to be battling with at least the top
Yeah.
guys. Even
Okay.
though Canada is literally not my strongest striker. But yeah,
Okay.
it was really a fun battle between Steven and Jack.
That's very good to hear. Let's give you a bit time to relax, and in 2 weeks we will see you back, and hopefully you're feeling a bit better then, and then maybe even better results, Alex. So
Let's
thanks
go.
for
Thank you.
yeah, thanks for being here, and see you soon.
By the way, Roven completely goated results.
Yeah, we will
Congrats,
talk
man.
with him soon.
See ya, Menno, and thank you guys for interviewing me.
And well, I think it's only fitting that we drag in a guy, I imagine, rather dejected Alejandro Valente. And well, Alejandro, I imagine you'll be feeling a little bit sore after that one. Not your fault at all.
Yeah, well, I'm not thrilled, but I'm happy that I was leading for most of the race. It's progress. So.
So yeah, can you just talk us through the whole race two? I mean, we can talk about race one, but I think all your emotion is in race two. So can you tell us a bit how that went, and did you have a battle plan? Because it looked at the beginning of the race that you just were following Dan and you're just hoping, yeah, without attacking him, that you would at least not lose a lot of time to like the likes of Reuven. Was that the plan, or didn't you have enough speed at the beginning, and only when Dan dropped off you had some pace to overtake? Or
Well, my initial plan was to stick with Dan, because we were gapping the car behind, I think, slightly. But then he made a mistake, so I decided to try and take the lead and gap them myself, and it worked for a couple laps. And then I don't know if I got slower or they got quicker, but we ended up coming close to each other. I just wanted to keep out of the battle behind, and it worked up until when it didn't. So
yeah. And yeah, how much heartbreak is this when you're that close to lose it? Then, I mean, I can fully understand it, but
yeah.
as a driver, how does that feel?
I
Yeah.
mean, this is probably the closest to like an actual win that I've got ever. I think my best result in this series is P7. So I mean, I guess you can imagine.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, but this should at least keep your hopes up for the rest of the season.
Yeah, hopefully.
And yeah, let's hopefully, yeah, we will see you back here, and but then actually when you're on the podium, and yeah, well, I'm really happy that you actually went here to at least go for the interview, and yeah, I hope to see you back and then as a podium finisher soon. So thanks for being here. Tom, anything to add?
No, and thank you very much, Alejandro, and I'm sure it will pick up for you. But thank you for the interview. As we drag in now Reuven Machete, and Reuven, couldn't have got much better for you today.
Yeah, this is unbelievable. I don't expect the 2 wins today. So I did struggle in the practice very hard with race pace. I only did like 2 laps in a row and then I crashed, but today was amazing. Today was everything perfect. But in race 2, a bit unlucky for Steven. He did also a very good job, but he was unlucky that he got killed. But yeah, it's unlucky, it's racing, but I feel sad for him.
And I know I ask this after every round, but now surely, going into round 8, you're leading the championship, and it'll be by some margin after today with 2 wins. Surely you've got to think that maybe it's now, dare I say it, yours to lose?
Well, Silverstone, of course, the championship is a beautiful thing, but for me, the constructor championship is more important than the drivers championship. But also, yeah, to leading the driver champion is a nice feeling. It gives me a good feeling, gives me confidence. But the next circuit is Silverstone, so yeah, this track, I don't know. I with every car I was there slow, so we will see. But also I will miss one round this season because I'm on holiday in Holland, in Netherlands. Sorry.
Oh, that's very good to hear. But
Yeah.
yeah, so now I think this was an amazing round for you. But I had the idea that you were just waiting for your moment in race 2. Was that actually the case? Because of course, you had much more to lose than, in my opinion, than the guys who were in front. I mean, they are there. They of course can take a legendary win from them, but of course you are in the championship. And was that in your mind that you needed to, well, choose your moments carefully this race?
Yeah, of course. I was like, if I get past them easily, so not like with any risk, it's cool. But if I stay in the DS train, then I stay in the DS train. Championship is more important than a first place in race 2, where you can damage your race results so much more with a crash with someone and DNF with that race 2. So yeah, I was always thinking that.
Yeah. So that's good to hear. So yeah, now up to the next round. But yeah, it cannot get any better than this, I guess. With pole and 2 wins, can't get any better. Can only get worse. But
Yeah.
I don't think that will stop you. So thanks for being here, Ruven. And I think with your interview, we're ending this stream. So Tom, thanks a
Well,
lot
yep.
for being here. And yeah, in 2 weeks' time, we will be there again. I'm not sure if I will be commentating then, or that we have another commentary duo, or that we are both there again. It's always a bit of a surprise. But in 2 weeks,
So Silverstone next time out, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Thank you all very much for watching. I've been Tom Dillon. He's been Menno Klont, and thanks very much for watching. And we'll see you all later. Good night.
bye bye.